task is to represent the people of your constituency within the parliament, which means that you need to attend parliament more regularly, and we're going to have extended sessions. You're going to have to change that culture within the parliamentarians, the minds of the parliamentarians, and within the minds of the people on the ground. How are we going to do that?
Change does not happen overnight. And experts say that the first response to change invariably is resistance. But anyone who stands to gain from change will embrace it. And anyone who stands to lose will resist it. Culture is not shaped overnight. There are deliberate steps that can be taken. Do not underestimate the knowledge gap in the society. Do not underestimate what and who influences the minds of our people. I mean, I hear people speak so convincingly about things that are neither true nor verifiable. But this is what makes the exercise of leadership both enticing and challenging at the same time. It's really about making progress. We're not we're people who, by and large, know what we want. The flip side of our free-spiritedness is indiscipline. And we're going to have to harness the best of what we have and channel the energy in a constructive way. I do believe that it is achievable, but we also have to temper our own expectations. Even people like you, all of you who are opinion shapers and opinion makers, we all will have to examine ourselves. I'm such a strong advocate for truth and reconciliation in this nation. Not so much about avenging the past, because so many things that we can't step back in the past, but it's about redeeming the future and going forward, learning the lessons that we should learn to give this great nation the opportunity to realize its potential and to ensure that our people can live the best lives that they can. And all of us will not be on the same level. But wherever you find yourself in the society, we in the parliament who are empowered to pass laws for peace, order, and good government, we're going to have to, be prepared to do it differently. More importantly, the people we represent also will have to be guided to do things differently.
Well said, Minister.
I remain hopeful. Challenging as it may be, I remain hopeful.
Well said, Minister, and you're right, these things will take time. But on that specific topic of the CDF and adjusting it, I see that as part of the recommendations in the report was that the CDF be transferred from the Office of the Prime Minister to the actual Houses of Parliament, in keeping with the separation of powers principle, and it be given its own separate oversight, including a committee empowered to sanction breaches of that CDF. Is this something that could be on the cards as part of the administrative adjustments? And would this be something welcomed?
The legislative branch of government, which is what the parliament is, does not execute in the way that the executive branch, supported by all of the other institutions, execute. So it sounds enticing. I would have to give it further consideration, but I am vested in accountability and in ensuring that anything that is established for a good purpose, that the processes ensure that those purposes are achieved. I have not given a thought to the matter sufficient to offer an opinion at this stage. But I do note the points that have been raised in the deliberation, and I join the Speaker, Most Honorable Juliet Holness, who chaired the committee, who took over the chairmanship of the committee, in thanking those who participated in the deliberations. If time did not allow you to read the report, I encourage you to do so. I know that we in the government will certainly be looking at it, but we are marking progress in delivering on the commitment made. And we're saying to all Jamaicans that it is not the end of the matter, but we must mark the progress. We made a commitment and we have honored the commitment. It took a little longer time, but the work began right away. I can say that without fear of contradiction. But it took time to formulate. And then after the draft was prepared, it was circulated to the transformation unit in the office of, between the Ministry of Finance and the office of the Cabinet, and some matters were added. It provided an opportunity for a good stock taking of what the creature of MP was involved in. And like we say, and like the comments show, we will have to go further to then see now all of the things that the Office of MP deals with, should they be dealt with, and how do we ensure that at the end of the day, the Member of Parliament is focusing properly on what should be focused on. I think the other point I would like to say is that I am a strong advocate for support staff for the Office of Member of Parliament, and MP Miller raised it. I think that what we are expected to do cannot be done well with the paucity of resources that we have. And I know some people may say, oh, you all get big salary raise. You know, the office is bigger than the office holder. We also have a lot of laws relating to how we deal with data protection, the accountability for the spend. It's important, as MP Miller pointed out, that everyone understands the members of Parliament do not get the money to hand. None of us gets the CDF money. None of us. We don't draw the check. We don't write it. It doesn't come to our account. The CDF is implemented through implementing agencies. So the sums are allocated, and then you have to write projects, and those projects are written according to project standards. They are reviewed, and then they are placed before the CDF committee, which comprises members from both sides of the aisle. And projects are not automatically approved. Some of them are sent back because you have to demonstrate clearly how the sums are going to be used, the needs, and your account. And I think there are one or two of the civil society bodies that regularly ask members of Parliament to share their constituency report. I know that I get that request from JAMP every year, and I share every year. So just be clear, no member of Parliament gets the allocated sums from the Constituency Development Fund to hand. All of them go through implementing agencies. And when a request is made from a constituent, that request has to be done in writing with supported documents. It is assessed in the constituency office, approved, or sometimes if the supporting documents are not there, you send back and ask, and then you indicate to the agency, the implementing agency, that a request has been approved, and you request disbursement. Monies are not paid directly to the constituent. If they request the provision of a good or service, the checks are made payable to the service provider or the goods provider. So that needs to be made clear to everyone who is listening.
And finally, to you, Member Miller, because I think we can all agree, as people who have a more intimate knowledge of the actual workings of the Parliament and the Constituency Development Fund, the perception of the resources that MPs have to hand versus the actual reality, there is a huge gap. And yet there is a further unwillingness on the part of the public to further resource or fund the activities of members of parliament, whether it is a perception of corruption or a perception that they already receive such largesses in terms of those resources that they have at hand. How do we bridge that obvious divide?
It's very difficult. The reality is that persons will hold on to their own perception as to what things are and what things should be. The reality is, when you look at the office of the Member of Parliament, if you want to adequately service your constituents, then it has to be resourced. You know, even a simple thing such as your constituency office, it has to be properly resourced to ensure that we cater to the wants and the needs of persons that come into the constituency office. Sometimes it's a difficulty even obtaining an area suitable to have an office. And when persons come into the office and wants to be served, some persons are of the belief that they should request for an item today and it must be delivered tomorrow. You know, it doesn't really work like that, because even the implementing agencies has to do their own investigation and research, and then it can be approved in your office, and then when it goes to the implementing agency, it is rejected. So in terms of nepotism, in terms of corruption, it's very difficult where that is concerned, but persons are still that view, you know, until they analyze for themselves. And each citizen have that right. There's the Access to Information Act. They have that right to seek information as to how the CDF is spent. In my constituency, I sent to all the citizen association yearly what I've done with my CDF in terms of a newsletter, you know, and they have that right. But in terms of perception, you know, we try to give information out there. We try to consult. I know many parliamentarians like myself try to do that. But it depends on the individual person in terms of their perception.
You know what I would really love to see before we go? I just want to say this to both of you. I'd love to see the office of the Member of Parliament separate from the office of that the MPs would use as their campaign office. So a separate office funded by the government, and just as how a minister would move to a ministry, that MP moves to the office. Once whoever loses, the new MP moves to that office. So it's separate and apart from that constituency office that is used for campaigning by both political parties. That is moving the ticker forward.
I agree
Something
with
to
you
think
100%. Yeah. The reality is that that's where we should move as a country. You know, that was one of the discussion at this joint select committee town hall meeting, that the country needs to have various areas that are designed for the office of the Member of Parliament, where whichever Member of Parliament, that is the office that they will use. For my office, for example, you know, everybody is welcome, but we need a structure office of the Member of Parliament in each constituency. And I agree with you 100%.
Well, what a good thing that we now have demonstrated better management of the economic affairs of the country, that suggestions like these can be considered. And people should never underestimate what difference that has made, because it doesn't matter what we wish for. If we're not able to finance and fund them, you know, we're not going to get there. I think it was former Prime Minister Siaga who said it took cash to care, and people laugh at it. But it's really unfortunate that you know, we don't have established offices of the Member of Parliament, and by and large it has been left to the particular office holder to put something in place. I am confident that we will get there. I really am confident that we will get there. In some places, I think in the U.S., you have the Congress congressman's office on both sides,
Yes.
those for the Democrats, those for the Republicans. So there are different models that can be used. But I think we can agree that we must work to have offices that all members of the public can meet with their elected representatives. I think it's good to aspire to the politically neutral office, but then again, we remember that politics is not a bad thing. We may have bad examples of how it is practiced, but it's the lifeblood of democracy. I note on the point of who qualifies, it was something that I grappled with when I was drafting the minimum qualification, and I had paid attention to people saying you need someone with a degree and all of that. Here's the thing about democracy, it gives the right to the people to select anyone that they believe to be competent and able to represent them, to be put in the halls of power. And then it also gives the people the right to not renew their mandate should they not perform. So we need to spend a little more time getting to understand what this thing called democracy is with the people, and the people, not some of the people who are wealthy and well-to-do and who are at an advantage coming out of a different kind of era where you had to be propertied or you had to have resources to a certain level. But the good thing is that, look what the delivery and adoption of the draft of the job description is doing. It's opening up the space again for good discussion and deliberation on this matter. So let's mark the progress, commitment made, and commitment honored.
That is
It's
member.
not the end of the matter.
That most certainly it is not, Minister. Member of Parliament for West Central, St. James, and Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Malahou Fort, and Member of Parliament for South East St. Catherine, Robert Miller. Thank you both for joining us. It has been a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Have a good evening. And listeners, more after this break.
You're a VIP with CIBC Caribbean. Spend US $100 or local equivalent with your CIBC Visa credit card for your chance to win a crop over VIP experience in Barbados. An all-expense-paid trip for two, staying at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel, cultural tours, and Aura experience with full glam makeup plus tickets to the hottest last lap events. Visit CIBC Caribbean /crop over 2025 for more info. Conditions apply.
You've led teams, built businesses, and influenced change. Now, lead research that transforms your field. Apply now for the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean's Doctor of Business Administration or Doctor of Professional Practice. Flexible, research-based, and designed for working professionals. All UCC programs are accredited by the University Council of Jamaica. Learn more and apply online at ucc.edu.jm. UCC, fostering leadership and innovation.
The Watchman. Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. The inconvenient truth. The term inconvenient truth carries with it the connotation of a fact or situation which, although true, goes against the prevailing paradigm and may hold negative consequences for the one who dares to bring it to public attention. A good example in the context of Jamaica is the fact that successive governments, and by extension politicians, have failed to create a prosperous, inclusive society and economy. The social and economic life of Jamaica, which national hero Norman Washington Manley, in his last public address, identified as the mission of those who would follow him. Jamaicans instinctively know this failure in government and governance to be true. But whether out of fear apathy, or political blindness will not publicly speak this truth in public spaces, much less try to whip up public sentiment in support of change. It took courage and some amount of daring for Reverend Al Miller to write a column under the title, "A Call to Action for National Transformation," which was carried in the May 26, 2025 edition of the Daily Observer. The opening sentences to Reverend Al's column foreshadowed what was to come. I quote, "The time for polite discourse masking deep national anxiety is over. The hour demands plain speaking and decision. The time for polite discourse masking deep national anxiety is over. The hour demands plain speaking and decisive action." End quote. The language gets more direct. Some would say threatening to the political status quo. I again quote from Reverend Al Miller's newspaper column. "As a nation, we have been losing for too long. For over 40 years, we've attempted to win with the JLP and PNP. And frankly, them can't make Jamaica win. Astoundingly, after 40 years of Jamaica falling short, the JLP and PNP are asking us yet again to do the same thing in the same old way. This cannot continue." End quote by Reverend Al Miller. The inconvenient truth was also spoken by the outspoken former president of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, Mr. Howard Hamilton, in a keynote address at UTEC's 12th annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture. Speaking under the theme, Ethics, Development, and the Price of Progress, here is a little of what he had to say. I quote him, "We have achieved great things, overcome tremendous obstacles, and there is the potential for true development lying before us. But unless the community, the citizens, our civil society, act decisively and with purpose to immediately motivate our political leadership to participate in the restructuring of our social relationships and in creating equal access to prosperity, as Bob Marley sang, progress will remain but a fleeting illusion, to be pursued but never attained." End quote from speech by Howard Hamilton. One does not have to agree with the prescription to heal the patient Jamaica put forward by these purveyors of inconvenient truth to admire their courage in speaking out. But is anyone listening? Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Taste it, eat it, drink it, applaud it. The 26th staging of the Jamaica Observer Table Talk Food Awards, the Caribbean's premier culinary event powered by MasterCard, takes place Thursday, June 26, on the East Lawns of King's House. Get your tickets at Starbucks at AC Marriott, Starbucks Ligny, Starbucks Waterloo, Signature Boutique, Unit 9, Legal Business Centre, 31 Upper Waterloo Road, Uncorked, Uncorked 2, Constant Spring Road, Uncorked Barbican, Sovereign North, Uncorked Ochi, Draxhall, Uncorked West, Fairview Shopping Centre, Resort Way by Ereline, Shop 4 Progressive Shopping Centre, Kingston, Cafe Dolce, 114 Constant Spring Road, Kingston, Fromage Bistro, 8 Hillcrest Avenue, Kingston, and of course the offices of the Jamaica Observer in Kingston and Montego Bay. Adults 18 years and over. Drink responsibly.
The National Stadium is the place to be on Saturday, June 7, when a glittering cast of global stars execute their pet events at the 7th staging of the Racers Grand Prix. The stunning lineups include Olympic silver medalist Kishane Thompson, Oblique Seville, Rashid Broadbell, Christopher Taylor, Rasheen McDonald, champion Allison, Orlando Bennett, and Olympic silver medalist Wayne Pinnock in the men's division. Check out the women's side where some titanic names are listed, including world champion Shericka Jackson, national junior record holder Alana Reid, the Clayton twins Tia and Tina, world record holder Toby Amusan, and Tokyo Olympic bronze medalist Megan Tapper. Admission finish line $5,000, regular grandstand $3,000, bleachers free until May 31. After that, it's only $1,000. Get your tickets online now at racersgrandprix.com and the Jamaica Pegasus from June 2 to 6. The action promises to be nothing less than sensational.
Tune in to Boy Things After Dark from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. for a sizzling outside broadcast live from Bird Shack Fried Chicken at 118 Red Hills Road on Wednesday, June 4. Join me, Kareem Boy Things Weathers, to Bird Shack for the famous crispy golden fried chicken. We are bringing the vibes our belly to Bird Shack to satisfy our hunger. Yes, that. Expect live music, giveaways, and more. Visit Bird Shack Fried Chicken on June 4 and join me on Boy Things After Dark. Tell us your favorite meal from Bird Shack Fried Chicken and why. So tune in to Boy Things After Dark, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Wednesday, June 4. Check us out at Bird Shack Fried Chicken on 118 Red Hills Road. Also, log on to our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90FM Live 2. If you can't make it, interact with us online. All this and more, only on Nationwide 90FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken Jamaica.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. As we go into the third and final hour now, we turn to matters overseas in Gaza. The president of the International Committee of the Red Cross, Mirjana Spoljaric, has told the BBC that Gaza has become worse than hell on earth. Spoljaric says Palestinians have been stripped of human dignity and international humanitarian law is being hollowed out. It comes as aid distribution centers in Gaza were closed on Wednesday as Israel's military warns roads leading to the sites will be considered combat zones.
At least 27 Palestinians were killed by Israeli fire close to an aid point on Tuesday. The IDF says its troops fired shots after identifying what it described as suspects who moved towards them, deviating from the designated access routes. Well, more from the BBC.
National Committee of the Red Cross has said that Gaza has become worse than hell on earth. Mirjana Spoljaric was speaking to the BBC just earlier today, and the comments come as at least 12 Palestinians have been killed. Several others have been injured in an Israeli airstrike targeting a school in Khan Yunis. That's according to medics and eyewitnesses. Eyewitnesses have been reporting that an Israeli drone struck two tents which were housing dozens of displaced people, including women and children. Well, Gaza's Hamas-run civil defense agency said that rescue workers had recovered the bodies of two children. But we're continuously monitoring the live scene in Khan Yunis, and this is the latest attack, the latest Israeli attack, which comes as aid distribution centres across Gaza are closed today as calls grow for independent investigations into the killings of dozens of people in incidents near the sites. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is a controversial aid network backed by the US and Israel, which began operating last week, says it was closing its sites for update organisation and efficiency improvement works. Well, our Middle East correspondent Barbara Pletasha is following developments from Jerusalem. I asked her just what we knew about the strike on the school in.
This is a school in Khan Yunis, and the Israelis issued evacuation orders for parts of Khan Yunis quite recently. They told civilians that they would be stepping up their offensive there against Hamas, and so we understand that hundreds of people arrived at this particular school since then because of those evacuation orders. So they put up tents in the grounds of the school, and what we're understanding from eyewitnesses as well as the Civil Defense Agency is that Israeli drones struck, hitting two of the tents that belonged to one family, and we have those casualty figures right now of 12 dead and a number of people injured. You know, of course, Kasia, that the schools across Gaza mostly are not operating now and are very, very widely used as places for displaced people to take refuge, and also that the Israelis quite often hit the schools, saying that they are being used as command and control centers by Hamas. We have not had any response yet from the Israelis about this incident, but usually the result of any strikes are that many civilians are the ones who suffer.
Barbara Pletasha in Jerusalem. Well, also earlier I spoke to Awa Dayman. She's the founder of the International Network for Aid, Relief and Assistance, INARA. It's one of the groups on the ground in Gaza. I began by asking her what she made of the International Committee of the Red Cross's comments that Gaza has become worse than hell on earth.
I've been to Gaza myself 4 times since October 7th, and then Israel actually denied me entry earlier this year with no reason given. And when you speak to INARA's team members, when you speak to anyone actually on the ground in Gaza, you know, for them, it's eclipsed hell on earth. This is an entirely new realm of such complete and utter, deliberately caused human suffering that it's extraordinarily difficult, even for those who are living through it, to actually wrap their minds around it and understand how it is that even they themselves are getting through every single day. Add to the sheer struggle of survival, everybody is hungry, tired, thirsty, super low energy levels. And so you have to imagine, you know, and frankly, it's quite, you know, surprising to a certain degree to hear, you know, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation say that they were surprised at the number of people who showed up to their distribution sites, because what were they expecting? Were they really expecting, and this is exactly why they came under such heavy criticism, that they would be able to feed and provide for more than 2.2 million starving people with just 4 hubs, people who would have to walk hours through extraordinarily dangerous militarized zones? Look, there's already an infrastructure in place in Gaza run by the United Nations and other organizations with over 400 distribution points. The capacity is there. All humanitarian organizations need is to have their trucks be let in and to be permitted to actually do their job.
But we continuously hear Israel refusing to let UNRWA do that, and we appreciate what you're saying, that it's got the abilities, and we speak to UNRWA regularly. They say they've got the facilities, they've got the infrastructure, they've got the local knowledge to do it. But when you've got Israel insisting that UNRWA has sympathies or even people who are members of Hamas working for them, something that UNRWA strongly disputes, how do you get around that then?
Well, I quite frankly would argue back that, you know what, fine. You want to use that allegation towards UNRWA and stop them from doing their job? What about the World Food Program? What about the World Central Kitchen that has the capacity to feed hundreds of thousands of people a day, and yet it too is not being permitted to bring in its supplies? Look, a lot of what Israel tries to argue to justify its actions, quite simply, when you know what's really happening on the ground, just doesn't make sense. Even if we take, you know, these horrific, you know, mass casualty incidents that have happened as people were en route to these distribution points. You know, Israel is the one that dictates the route that people have to take. And Israel knows that that route takes people through a danger zone. And actually, I have an eyewitness account from a young man who was there over the weekend during one of these mass casualty events. And he's describing how the crowd of people moved forward after they got the okay to move forward. Then the gunshots ring out. Then he and his friends end up running towards the beach thinking that they might be safer. But while they're running down the beach, a gunship begins firing at them. And he specifically describes how 4 people died in front of him and how he saw a little 5-year-old girl being shot in the stomach. And quite frankly, having been on the ground myself, being constantly in touch with people there, knowing the reality of what's happening, it's very frustrating that for some reason, you know, so many world superpowers, so many individuals are refusing to believe what it is that the Palestinians in Gaza who are living through this are telling them. And it really begs the question of, if we had actually listened to them, if we had actually believed them when they said we're being killed, we're being starved, this is a war that is being carried out on us and not Hamas, would we actually be where we are today?
So there you have it. listeners, the humanitarian crisis on the Gaza Strip still deteriorating day by day, now being described as hell on earth for the Palestinians trying to get by in a very, very challenging, if not just downright impossible situation due to the ongoing conflict between the Israeli military and the Hamas group. So what do you make of this, Sanjay? I'm still uncertain as to where the end in sight is to this situation. I don't know how we bring this to a close. I understand there was attempts at a ceasefire agreement, which to this date has unfortunately not gone through. So where do we go?
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation, and it's a humanitarian crisis as it's rightly put forward. What we see, Siobhan, unfolding in Gaza is really a test of global conscience, and civilians, especially children, are not collateral damage. They are the ones that are paying the highest price. And I'm of the belief that the international community must move beyond statements and towards concrete action. Yeah, because we have to look at opening humanitarian corridors, ensuring aid access. All of that needs to be put in place, and the world must know. The world can't look away. And for a very long time, that's what is happening. And we owe it to the people of Gaza and to humanity itself to demand protection, accountability, and peace. That's what we need.
Well
but
said.
the world, though, Siobhan, all of us collectively have to look in that direction. I don't think we have been doing that.
Well said, but I think the immediacy now, what is needed is a de-escalation and a stabilizing of the situation. But how that is achieved is going to be a matter that at the end of the day, only the Israeli government and the Hamas group can really decide as to what form that will take in terms of bringing the current conflict to a close so that humanitarian aid can go into Gaza without the concern of bullets from either side becoming a problem.
Here what it is, Siobhan. We have to really look on a negotiated ceasefire, and that has to be brokered by neutral international actors, maybe Egypt, maybe Qatar, to an extent the UN. Yeah, that is the first and most essential step. And it must be sustained, because it's one thing to call for a ceasefire and have it, but it cannot just be temporary. And it should include mechanisms for monitoring the compliance of the ceasefire. And then we have to look on that humanitarian element going in. Right? We have to, it's a process, So we have to ensure full and consistent access to humanitarian aid through multiple corridors, land, air, sea, lift the restrictions on medical supplies, food, fuel, shelters, the material that is needed, and also ensure that we empower these neutral agencies like the UN, because we talk about the UN needing to go in, but they have to get that empowerment from the different countries that exist. There's a lot that has to happen, but I think that that's the first step that we have to take if we're really going to have the situation under control.
Well, I'm sure this will not be the last time we discuss this matter as the situation there escalates, and hopefully we can move towards a de-escalation. But until then, listeners, we have 20 minutes left to us, so we are going to try to take some of your calls, and you can come chat with us whatever you want. The numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255.
Tune in to Boy Things After Dark from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. for a sizzling outside broadcast live from Birchak Fried Chicken at 118 Riddles Road on Wednesday, June 4. Join me, Kareem Boy Things Brothers, to Birchak for their famous crispy golden fried chicken. We are bringing the vibes our belly to Birchak to satisfy our hunger. Yes, that. Expect live music, giveaways, and more. Visit Birchak Fried Chicken on June 4 and join me on Boy Things After Dark. Tell us your favorite meal from Birchak Fried Chicken and why. So tune in to Boy Things After Dark, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Wednesday, June 4. Check us out at Bird Shack Fried Chicken on 118 Red Hills Road. Also, log on to our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90FM Live 2. If you can't make it, interact with us online. All this and more, only on Nationwide 90FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken Jamaica.
Tune in to Nationwide at 5 on Thursday, June 5 from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. as we broadcast the Fosrich and Partners Energy Expo from the Jamaica Pegasus Legacy Suite. Join us live as Fosrich highlights sustainable energy solutions, investment opportunities, and industry collaborations that highlight strategies for national development and technology advancements, showcasing cutting-edge energy solutions and innovations. So tune in to Nationwide at 5 on Thursday, June 5 from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's the Fosrich and Partners Energy Conference. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90FM Live 2. All this and more, only on Nationwide 90FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by Fosrich Group of Companies. We foster rich customer service. First Global Bank, Development Bank of Jamaica, Jamaica Solar, and Huawei.
Welcome back, listeners. As I said, we're taking your calls in the few minutes left to us. I understand, Papa Nana, you're on, and I also understand that happy birthday is due to you. So happy birthday, Papa Nana. How are you?
Happy birthday.
God bless you, sir. I must tell you the honest truth. You people at Nationwide make us feel so proud. To be honest to you, I'm so glad I was well supported Tuesday for my birthday.
I'm happy to hear it, Papa Nana.
May God ever bless you people, to be honest to you. But, Shaban.
Yes, sir.
And who else?
It's Sanjay.
Yes, Sanjay, how you do?
I'm good. Happy birthday.
Yes, man. Enough respect, man, because I would have complained to your mother if you didn't say it to me, you know.
I didn't get that. You know we're going to do what?
I said I would have complained to your mother.
God of mercy.
Because I don't think you would know me, but I know her very well.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yes. Let me ask you one simple question. Both of you. You believe prayer can help? Because let me tell you, I tremble when I hear what is taking place in Gaza. You believe prayer can help? Just bear with me little. Maybe I may sound stupid, but I'm asking you.
I'm not the religious type, you know, but if you believe in the power of prayer, Papa Nana, there's no harm in you providing that level of support and putting the people of Gaza in your thoughts.
Jesus Christ. Because, I mean, it make you feel away, you know. Oh, God Almighty, man. I mean, look, you hungry, you starve a person to death. No, man, something is wrong. Anyway.
But remember, even with prayer without corresponding action is often seen as insufficient or incomplete. So you need the prayer, yes, but the action, as I indicated, is also necessary for that war that we're seeing to stop.
Anyway, let me move on quickly because I know other people waiting. You know what I have noticed for the years that I have been in this country? It seems to me like you have some modern day pirate in this country. And I choose my word properly, and I would like you people to guide me along. You have some modern day pirate in this country, and it seems to me as if when the ship sank down by Port Royal, some of them escaped in this country, you know, to be honest to you. And that's why I have to lift my hand to Bruce Golding. Because we have some people in this country who I call the modern day pirates, who really and truly, I don't know what to call them, but they was not accountable to anyone. So they was able to pilfer this country, and they are so smart. They take it and they hide it in the four corners of the world, because they did not accountable to no one until Bruce Golding came in and bring in this what you would call it, that you had to declare your asset. You can help me along the way. right? They pilfered this country, and they are so smart that they take it and hide in the poor corner of the world because they was not accountable to anybody. And those are the modern day pirates who is telling people about this honesty. You are going to tell me about this honesty. Some of them is so smart that they behave as if to say they don't even own anything. They don't even have a house. Hello, I'm on the phone. Yes, sorry about that. Yes, they don't even live nowhere according to them. They are so smart, you know. And you have another one again. They are telling you how they love the poor and how they would treat the poor, you know. And when they do, they take the poor unfortunate and they send them to the mud lake. The poor unfortunate again was burnt in even inside the home. And when they done, they behave as if to say some of them love the poor and the other people hate them. I mean, these things are to stop. They are economic criminals. I'm telling you, if I give you a history, I went downtown and a handcart man hit my car. And when I come out and I said to the man, what's going to happen now? He said, man, he must go down to the KSAC because he is insured. And no, I can't get my insurance how much years now because the handcart man say him insured and we will go down there. Which, well, him never really go down there. You understand? Because I know it would be a waste of time. And they do all manner of evil and believe it was good. And when people try to do good, all they do, they fight it down. And they you know, but anyway, time will tell. We'll find out who is the Jamaican people, who is smarter than who. But time will tell. I thank you very much. Sir.
All right, Papa Nana.
All right,
and happy birthday again.
Yes, sir. God bless you.
Have a good evening. Michael, good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you this evening, sir?
Doing quite well. How are you, sir?
Good up in the mountain here, man, and in your class. I listen nationwide, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, man, because I educate the people, you know, man.
So you enjoy the class this evening?
Yeah, man, I enjoy every single moment and nationwide, man.
That's good.
The thing when I talk about, you know, because I upon the same nationwide, here, I don't know which one of the man that me talk about some bridge. Where we go around Jamaica here, you know.
Yes, they're trying to fix some of the bridges which are in a poor state, yes.
Yeah, Mr. Warmington, he start one up here and tear up a garden town about 3-4 years ago. I never start. Some here like invention to it, you know, called Niagara Vale. That one take you to the peak, you know, Hadley's Gap, you know, the border of St. Andrew and St. Thomas.
What's the name of the bridge? Maybe I can find out some information for you.
Something, I don't definitely remember, like Niagara, something I don't remember, you know, but it's a place near Mount Charles, you know, it will lead over to Hadley's Gap, you know.
That's in West Rural?
Eh?
The constituency is West Rural, St. Andrew?
No, East Rural.
It's East Rural. Oh, okay. East Rural, yes.
Western St. Thomas, at the border between the both of them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I like if you check it out, and the next one was to go over where I call it, Chinkona Garden, West Seal, Daisy Seal, House the Light, and thing, Robert Seal, at the CNE near this bank here, you know. The Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Green, said I would like to get it out of this year budget. So, should we know, say, the man is an hard work and work in the community, would I like to see if we can still proceed it in the car. When the rain come in at the storm season, you know, nothing can cross it, you know. You remember all the tunes say, if you cross it, you go down into your wash, down into your so no one can cross it.
I see an article where Minister Green was commenting on those road breakaways where he mentioned that 200 million is allocated to fix road breakaways in St. Andrew East Rural, and he was speaking about what's the community? I'm trying to find the community in the article. I'm not sure if that's the same thing you're talking about. In Hall's Delight.
Yeah, man.
So it's the same area.
Yeah, as like Davisville, Westfield.
Yes. Yeah, man. So it's in the pipeline based on what the minister said that they have signed a contract for 200 million. It has been approved and work should begin shortly.
So, yeah, well, at the same place when I tell you about the bridge, you know, so the bridge will have come in the same time and it will be a beauty.
Yes.
But the 200 million can do the road and the bridge.
Well, I don't know. He didn't say anything about a bridge. He's speaking about the breakaway. And I see it also mentioned Hagley's Gap, Moy Hall, Flamstead, and a few other communities. So some of the communities that you mentioned.
Community, you know.
So your community can get piece of the work too.
Yeah, right now I Flamstead live on for years, man.
All right, well, you see the talking and calling and beseeching on the radio, it seems it's paying off. Eh?
Say that again?
No, I'm saying I know that you have been a strong advocate for the roads in that area to be fixed. And now we're seeing that the advocacy that you have been doing on radio for such a long time, it has now been paid off because the minister indicated that the road will be fixed.
Yeah, man, same to the idea, man, to the work show where the man do, man. It come like a teamwork, it come like the West Indian team, you know, when you Clive Lydia, Anglita, Gareth Thomas, you know. We have a good evening, you know, because we know say you have some more.
All right.
Go on to say something, you know, man.
All right, thank you, Michael.
Right, thank you, Michael.
Yes.
Carl, good evening.
Evening, Sanjay. Evening, Siobhan.
Evening, Carl. How you do?
Siobhan.
Yes, sir.
Why? I may be a journalist now and ask you a question. Why you demonstrate for?
What am I demonstrating for? What do you mean? What do you mean?
You know, understand the question let me ask you then, man.
No, not at all.
Why are you demonstrating?
I'm so confused right now, Carl. What are you talking about?
Never hear a journalist ask the PMP them Monday evening. Why them are demonstrating and then get out and they don't know.
So what have to do with me, Carl?
Anyhow, I hear yesterday morning, Julian Robinson on board 2 clips, 6 o'clock news and 7 o'clock news. I can't come my front line because it seems like he's not learning anything when he's in the back line. So I take it to the front. So Julian, come up to the front eye, the classroom, please. Let me ask you some questions. Do you know one place name in a Chilani name, out of many or in a many? Did you hear about it? Well, it was bailed out, Julian, by the taxpayer dollar of Jamaica for a PMP friend. Ask you again, Julian, another question. Let me carry up to the front line, because you're not learning anything. Let me carry to the front.
Whatever became of that property?
You know, and that just came to my mind too. I remember that scandal and the bailout, but I don't know whatever happened.
All right, may I carry Julian, because
if I recall, the government assured us that after the bailout, there would be some development and time would have proven them right. So whatever became of that property?
Let me try put in 2 questions and finish up. I mean, I feel a teacher if you teach Julian something. It seems like he's not learning nothing. He come like, I just take him to the front and teach him something, go back and forget it. I want to ask him again if he know of a radio station, didn't he, and KLAS was given to a PMP friend with all of the satellite them for $700,000, Julian. If it did sell for the right amount of money, Julian, 32 baby wouldn't died at Bustamante Hospital in your own constituency. And then they have accident, Julian. As I heard him yesterday morning say, corruption costs. No bed, nothing in a hospital. No police station, nothing a fix. Some whole heap of things in my name out. Well, Julian, if all of those things never give to a PMP friend. All of what you are criticizing, Julian, would have able to done in the 90s. Want to take back your brain. I hope Julian they're up at front of classroom now.
Carl, I'm sorry, I'm getting the wrap-up signal now. New directive have to close by 7:57 to accommodate other programs. So hate to drop you there, Carl. Next time you'll get some more time. But thanks to our listeners and our viewers. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thanks to our super producer Dana Davey, our technical operator Andrew the Glenn Boogs Anderson, as well as all my friends and compatriots in the news and production department led by the capable Cara Powell. And I shout out to all you YouTubers. I wish I could call you individually, but I can't. So have a good evening. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. Good evening.
Open an account with the Insurance Employees Cooperative Credit Union today and enjoy attractive savings products and affordable